Tell me that that is not... You don't feel something when you listen to that. Come on. Yeah. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley, and if you're new here, I hope people recognize their full potential by exploring all aspects of the mind-body connection. We're gonna have a nice little chat here tonight. It's a rainy, cold Sunday night, and I've had a lot on my mind, so I kind of just wanted to share some stuff with you guys, and hopefully, you know, somebody can relate to this, and I feel like this is something that a lot of people will relate to. So grab a pillow. It's pillow talk time. I've decided this is a new thing that I'm doing. I really just want to be more relaxed with what it is that I want to share with you guys aside from the podcast. So grab some water, whatever it is, cup of tea. Does anyone else drink water out of a wine glass? I feel like that's really bizarre, but I do it anyway. I don't drink anymore, and you know what? It's nice to drink water from a classy cup. So grab some tea, some water, whatever your preference is, and we'll just get into it. Something that has been at the forefront of my mind is just this idea that, you know, we don't have to have it all figured out. And I know that that's something that should be pretty obvious, right? You know, it's like, obviously it's not our job to have everything figured out, but I feel like we live in a society now where there's so much pressure to have this life plan figured out, right? Especially with going to school, and even when you pick out your major for college, you're expected to know exactly what it is that you want to do with your life for the next 40 years, and your brain isn't even fully developed at that point, right? That's so much pressure to put on yourself. And I think it's also incredibly limiting. And I don't mean this to, you know, discount anyone that has a real fire within of the path that they want to be on, but I would encourage you to challenge that, you know? Think about how much is out there that you haven't even explored yet. How many layers of yourself there are that you haven't even explored yet. And, you know, I think for myself even, I thought for years of my life that I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted nothing more than to just be famous and to perform in sold out venues, and singing was my passion and that's what I was gonna do. And then where that life went on, I was like, I don't know if that's really what I want to do with my life. Like, I enjoy that, it's fun, but is it really what I want to do, you know, for the rest of my life? And one thing kind of led me to another, and I majored in English and communications in college, and I thought that I wanted to do something with writing. I've always loved writing, always been a decent writer, and it's always been a really nice form of self-expression. But, you know, I went through that whole process, and I got that degree, and then I had a corporate job, and I hated it. It was the most soul-sucking thing that I could have done. And I don't mean this to shade anybody that has a corporate job or that feels like that's really good for them, but for me in that time, it was, I felt like it was just holding me back so much, and felt like I was limiting myself in such a big way. Like, there was so much of myself that I haven't even explored yet. And, you know, for me, the corporate rat race, as I like to call it, is really just living for something that's so separated from the present moment. Think about people that live to work versus working to live. Well, when you're in that rat race, it's like you're just really in your mind, you're wanting to remove yourself of anything from the present moment. Anything but being here, anything but what I'm dealing with right now. At least that's how it was for me. I would always be looking forward to my weekend, or in my case, I would be looking forward to, you know, getting to the gym after work and just being out of that. It's like, okay, well, I would count down the clock, you know, I'd say, oh, I only have a few more hours, and then really just, it felt like it was a waste of my life. And I wasn't even doing anything that was creative or that allowed me to tap into my creative side. And I realized that over a really short span of time, to be honest. I was only in the corporate grind, so to speak, for about 4 months. I realized that it just did not resonate with me. Wasn't what I wanted. And it was like this voice inside of me that I couldn't ignore. And I've sometimes equated this to an alarm clock. You know, you think about, there's an alarm clock that you press snooze on, and you know it's there, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of ignore it. You know, it's fine, I have some more time, I'm just gonna let it do its thing. And then you hear that alarm clock again, and then you press snooze again, and you ignore it again. And over, it's that same cycle of being woken up by that alarm clock and then choosing to ignore it until you finally make the choice to get up and to get out of bed. And that is what I would equate quitting the corporate grind to, was finally deciding to listen to that internal alarm clock and not hitting snooze anymore. And it was really scary because I had this whole idea of what I wanted my life to be and what I thought I wanted. I really thought for a long time that I wanted to live in the city with my friends, have that corporate job and climb my way up the corporate ladder and make myself, this corporate presence in the communications, the public relations realm, and really just fall into that rat race. And I even remember, friends and family members telling me, well, for the first 5 years, you're gonna hate your life, but then it'll get better. In hindsight now, I think about that and it's like, is that even worth it? Is it really worth it when you stand back and you ask yourself, sure, stability is great and comfort is great. And that's, a given. I think everybody could agree on that. But is it really worth it to waste those years of your life to something that limits you, to knowing that there's something inside you that wants to explore so much more, but doesn't even have a chance to because you're tethered down to this job or this path that everybody around you is telling you is the right thing to do, and you've even led yourself to believe that it's the right thing to do, but deep down there's something in you that's telling you that you want to explore more and that there's more for you. I think part of it comes down to exploring your soul's purpose. I think all of us on this planet, whether we know it or not, we're all here for a purpose, we're all here for a reason, and part of this human experience is just that, right? To figure out what our purpose is on this planet. And we don't need a specific timeline for that, right? We don't need to necessarily have all the answers now. And that's the point of why I wanted to sit down for this first little pillow talk with you guys, is just, I feel like there's a lot of other people out there that need to hear and that need to understand that it is not our job to have everything figured out. It's not. But it's easy to feel like it is. Especially in the society and the hustle culture that we live in. Everyone around us telling us, oh, what's your 5-year, your 10-year, your 20-year plan? You have your retirement set up, you have this, that, and it's smart to plan. But I also think that we would be selling ourselves short if we didn't give ourselves the opportunity to explore. And giving yourself that chance to explore, I think really comes down to just realizing that, hey, maybe you don't need to have all the answers. I think if you were to even think about in your life, where you are now versus when you were a kid, what you thought you wanted or what you thought would be aligned for you, what you thought was meant for you, sometimes isn't, right? It's not our job to have all the answers. It's our job to explore. It's our job to unravel, unlearn, tap into ourselves more, learn more about ourselves, tap into who we truly are. And I think sometimes by these things that fall apart, things that we're so set in that become such a part of our identity, when we learn to let those go, that is when we have the ability to explore. I think a big problem in Western society is how much people identify with their jobs. And that becomes, the main part of who they are. And it's like, okay, well, when that's stripped away, it's like, who am I? What do I have to offer? What is my purpose here? And I think that the pandemic was a really big wake up for a lot of people who had that suddenly stripped away, kind of left us in this place of, oh my God, what am I here for? Like, why am I here? Should I be exploring something more now that my job isn't as much a part of my life? What do I identify with? And that's the time to explore, right? That is the time to dive into your inner world, those inner realms, and meditate and go inward and read and expand your knowledge, expand your consciousness, find what resonates with you, find what lights you up, regardless of a profession. Think about your passion and see if you have an ability to turn that, passion into something that will give you that stability, that will give you that lifestyle that it is that you want. And don't limit yourself. I think a big part of this is, as a society, we've subconsciously told ourselves that our passion has to be separate from our job, from our, means by which we achieve abundance and stability. And I don't think that has to be the case. And it's scary. I know it is so scary to take that risk, and to not know where life is going to take you either. I think that's a big part of it as well, is feeling like you have to have everything figured out. And maybe sometimes quitting a job, you think, and even for me, it's like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do 5 years from now. I don't know necessarily what I'm going to do 10 years from now. But I do know that what I was doing before was not aligned. I do know that that was not fulfilling my soul and not fulfilling me on a spiritual level. And sometimes knowing what you don't want is just as powerful as knowing what you do, right? And in knowing that that doesn't align, that gets you closer to what it is that is actually going to align with you. And it takes a risk to get there. It takes being okay with leaving the familiar behind, leaving the comfort behind, leaving the expectations of those around you to the side, and starting to live for yourself rather than somebody else. So I don't know if any of this really made sense at all. But, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot. Just this idea of needing to have our whole lives figured out. We're so young. We have so much more to experience. We have so much more to live and to see, you know, and I don't know what's coming in the future. I don't have a crystal ball. And I think that's part of the fun of life, right? Is we don't know what's coming. I encourage you to keep an open mind and an open heart and to remain excited for what the future has to hold. I think that's such a big part of it too. You know, there's people that I know in my life that have been like, oh, you know, I peaked in high school and college was the best years of my life. I'm never gonna have so much fun anymore. And I've even heard people around me say, you know, the fun is over now. Now the real world starts. Now, welcome to the real world. Now you're an adult. And think about the baggage that comes with that frame, that mindset of you're done having fun now. The rest of your life, you're going to be spent working for somebody else in an unfulfilled job, doing something that doesn't align with your soul's purpose, living for your weekends, getting caught in this rat race, and not living for yourself anymore. And I encourage you to challenge that belief. I encourage you to challenge that story that people have told you, maybe that you've told yourself consciously or subconsciously. Challenge that. Know that the world is your oyster. I want you to be excited for everything that the future has to hold. And I feel like our generation in particular needs to be reminded of that. We need to be hopeful and we need to be excited for the future. We need to be looking forward to every day that comes our way, to everything that we can give in this world and share and experience. And we need to let go of that old belief to do that. And again, it's not your job to have all the answers. It's not your job to know exactly what you're going to be doing when you retire or exactly what you're doing 10 years from now. If you're young, even if you're older, it is never too late to explore. It's never too late to rewrite your story. It is never too late to start a different path. It's never too late to awaken to your soul's purpose, to awaken to what aligns with you and what fires you up and what gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning. It's never too late for you to make a choice to step into that and to make something of it. And I encourage you to do that because I feel like a lot of people have been forced into, you know, not even forced, but a lot of people have been in this cycle of feeling like they can't get out of it. And it's like the further and further you go in, the harder it is for you to explore. So if you can take anything away from this, you know, you don't have to have it all figured out. I'm doing the best I can. I don't have all the answers. I definitely don't have all the answers. And it's scary not knowing, right? It's scary not having all the answers, but I think it's pretty cool too, because we're all kind of just like strapped into this roller coaster ride of life and seeing where it'll take us. And it's funny, you know, 10 years ago, if you told me that I was doing what I am doing now, I would think you were crazy. I would literally think that that was not me, that was someone else. You had me mixed up. It's true. And another 10 years from now, I could be looking back at this version of myself and saying, oh my God, I was doing that then? That's what I thought I wanted to do? You don't have to get so set in stone in those identities either, right? Understand you're a human. You can change. You can rewrite your story. You can wake up one day and decide you want to do something different. I could wake up tomorrow and, you know, decide that I want to be a trapeze artist. And all of a sudden that's what's firing me up, and that's, you know, that's what's giving me that life fuel, that passion. And I explore it and I see it through. See it through. See your passion through whatever it is. Don't give up. And just because you have nothing figured out, maybe long term, doesn't mean you give up. That means you keep going. And like I said, that means you see it through. We're all doing the best we can here with this game of life. And yeah, I certainly hope that you enjoyed this pillow talk. I don't really have, you know, any plan for this. It's kind of just what's swirling around in my mind at the moment, and tonight this is what is swirling around my mind. So certainly hope you enjoyed. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button if this resonated with you, if you feel like you connected with what I was sharing here, if you feel like we've got a connection. Hit that like button. Follow me over on Instagram at I'm Haley Noel. I'm on TikTok as well, I'm Haley Noel, and stay connected. Let's chat, you know? Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're feeling. Let me know where your heart's at, your mind's at, and let's communicate. But yeah, that is all I have for you tonight, my loves. I'm sending you so much health, wealth, success, happiness, abundance, and joy, and I will see you next time. Bye.